Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. So there's rumors circulating that Disney want to reboot the Indiana Jones franchise. They want to start all over again with a new guy playing Indiana Jones. Somebody else now putting on the fedora. I personally have no problem with that if that does actually happen. I love this franchise. I'm the biggest fan amongst all my friends and people who know me. I'm the one who loves Indiana Jones the most. And I would love to see this franchise continue with somebody else donning the whip, wearing the fedora, and basically globetrotting and treasure hunting and beating up Nazis and everything else that you can consider. I want somebody else to continue doing it. I feel like this particular character, like many other characters that have been played by multiple actors, can be played by somebody else. And I have no problem in somebody else doing it, as long as they do it justice. So that's some of the rumors. Apparently, D23 Expo next year, we might get some more information on those rumors. It's early days yet. Only 2 years ago that Dial of Destiny came out. So Disney are not necessarily rushing into rebooting the franchise, but they definitely want to do it. Regarding the most recent films, I want to quickly say that Dial of Destiny was a terrible movie. That goes without saying, but it did show to me that Harrison Ford still had it. Even though he was in his 60s, the guy kept himself in tremendous shape. And he still looked plausible as a guy who could have ruckuses with people, could still run about, move about, all of that sort of stuff. And for that, I like his performance in that because he seemed like he still had that grit and determination in him as Indiana Jones. But sorry about the zooming, I apologize. But the film itself was awful. The CGI, the whole cinematography, the look of it, having Russians filling in for the Nazis, aliens, all of these things. It was just a terrible direction. And some of these action scenes and stunts were really stupid. Swinging with monkeys and all of that, bringing in Mutt, who is very hit and miss with a lot of people, who was supposed to be the successor, then that never fucking materialized, as we found out in Dial of Destiny. But yeah, Harrison Ford still had it back then, but they missed the trick and they blew it, and they end up making a shit film. Regarding Dial of Destiny, well, some of the articles I've read regarding Dial of Destiny, like a lot of people are hating on Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yeah, she wasn't the best part of the movie, but neither was Harrison Ford, because by that time he's in his 80s, and you can see it. You can really genuinely see it. Like, this guy is too old to be playing Indiana Jones, and he wasn't able to do any of his own action scenes. But the best part of Dial of Destiny was the beginning. The first 20 minutes with the flashback scene of him finally in the 40s now, fighting the Nazis. World War II has commenced. Was brilliant. I loved it. Yes, they de-aged him and all of that, but I fucking loved it. And once they brought it to the late 60s, it was crap. I didn't like it at all. It was terrible. I hated it. Everything about it was not that great. Some people were complaining about what happened to Indiana Jones. He was such a cool dude in the first 3 movies. He was a college professor. Everyone loved him. He was charismatic and all of that. But by Dial of Destiny, he was haggard and decrepit and all of that. But he was an old man by then. He a genuine old man, somebody who had no longer got it anymore, and he lost his son. That can destroy you. I've seen people who, including my aunt, when my cousin died. My aunt, the mother of my cousin, it drained the life out of her. When your child dies before you do, it could destroy you. And I felt that was portrayed in a way that only got explained later on in the movie, but at least it made me understand why Indiana Jones was the way he was in Dial of Destiny. But still, it was a crap film. It was a crap film, regardless. So, no more Harrison Ford. I'm sorry. As much as I love you and I think you're amazing in the first 3 films, you're done, my son. We're now needing somebody else to take on the reins and put on that fedora. And there's a whole bunch of actors by my side who could possibly do it. Now, these are the most generic, renowned actors you can think of. James Marden, no, it's not happening. He's too old. And a lot of these actors are pretty old. All of them are in their 40s. Harrison Ford, when he made Raiders of the Lost Ark, he was 39 years old. And when he made Last Crusade, he was 47. So he was able to make 3 films in the span of 8 years. And that was good for him because he never really aged out the role. But these guys in their 40s, and I think some of them are in their mid-40s or even late 40s, they might age out the role more quicker than you can imagine, because I can't imagine them making an Indiana Jones film every couple of years. You know, it might spread out. So some of these actors might not necessarily be ideal to play Indiana Jones. If Scott Eastwood gets it, I would be happy to a degree, because he seems like the only actor in that group who were very much in his father's shadow and would and could do with a role like that. But then again, he'll be in Harrison Ford's shadow if he does take on that role. But there's no Pedro Pascal in that list. He's in his 50s. He's obviously not going to do it. But Bradley Cooper, where the fuck has he been? I haven't seen Bradley Cooper on our screens in ages. Chris Pratt is obviously a very popular one. He gave those Indiana Jones vibes in those Jurassic World movies. But some of these other actors, I'm not so sure. Ryan Gosling, I'm not feeling it. Jensen Ackles, James Marsden, as I mentioned. Chris Pine, well, no chance. And Chris Evans. Bradley Cooper will be a better Nathan Drake than he would be an Indiana Jones, in my personal opinion. There's the actor who's in the new Running Man film. He could be a good Indiana Jones if he's young enough. But whoever takes on the mantle, I really want them to be in their 30s. You know, not saying early 30s, but definitely their mid to late 30s. Somebody who can do 3 or 4 Indiana Jones films before they start to become a bit too over the hill. So that's important. And another thing that's also very important is that Harrison Ford did a lot of his own stunts. And that's one of the reasons why I also like those films. You can see Harrison Ford doing the stunts in those movies, where he's hanging off the truck in Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, swinging on ropes and trying to get to the minecart in Temple of Doom, or being covered in rubble and rocks as he's hanging off a tank in Last Crusade. He did a lot of his own stunts, and whoever takes on that mantle needs to have the balls to do some of their own stunts. Not all of them. Harrison Ford didn't do all of them. There were some stunts that not even he could do, even if he wanted to. So, but I would like some of these actors, if their face is going to be on screen and you're playing an action star, you know, who's got a rugged sense of doing things when it comes to being in a fight, you know, then yeah, it has to be somebody who can do some of his own stunts. So that's important too. But yeah, this reboot, you know, at some point it's going to happen. Let's hope it doesn't take too long. I'm not getting any younger. So make it so, let it happen. Find the right actor, even if it's an unknown, I'm totally fine with that, as long as they can do this role justice and make it their own, and, you know, make Harrison Ford proud, you know, that he's got a decent successor. I know Harrison Ford doesn't want a successor, but he doesn't fucking own the IP. Lucasfilm does, Disney does. So regardless of what he wants, doesn't mean he's going to get it. And he probably won't, because this franchise will still make money if done right. Indiana Jones is one of the, you know, the original trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies of movies ever. So if it can be done right, I'm sure people will flock to watch it. You know, with a new sense of being, a new sense of purpose, putting these films, but still having that Indiana Jones vibe. And obviously, what's very important as well is sets, you know, real locations, and not too much CGI. I can understand some of it needs to be done, but the reality of it, you know, like when they went to Egypt, they were in Egypt. When they went to India, yes, they were in Sri Lanka, but it looked like fucking India regardless. You know, I want to see real places, real sets. Even if the place is fake, I want to see proper sets that look genuine, not a fucking green screen. Alright, that's my rant over. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest social media channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye-bye.